evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the Armoury. Welcome to the Arsenal Wolves match preview. And I wish I pressed live about 5 minutes before we went live. We would have been on time, but the conversation backstage was so riveting. Honestly, oh God, seriously, the things we talk backstage is crazy. But big up to everybody. Big up to my pod brother. Brenny, I was going to say G then. Brenny, hope you're doing well. But we got to say welcome back to G. How you doing, G?
I'm good, man. I'm good, bruv. It's like, I mean, the last couple of weeks have been a bit crazy. I think I did a preview a few weeks ago, and then before that, I hadn't done one for ages. So it's good to be back at football and Arsenal. As much as I've been following it all, had to take somewhat of a backseat because I had to focus on some personal matters. But you know what? Me and the family have turned the corner. Things are looking a lot more brighter. So a happy day. So it's an absolute pleasure to share this platform with you both again. Looking forward to the show.
Yeah, me too. What about you, nice. Brenny? How are you, Brenny?
Yeah, I'm better. The week's been good, apart from football. To be honest, I haven't watched any football this week. I've not felt it. I'm actually, the Premier League, not felt it. Even remaining games, not felt it at all. I've just not even a league or any of them. Just
I hear you.
Playoffs. I'm looking forward to the playoffs this weekend. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to see quite a few Coventry fans around here. They always seem to come here for a few drinks where I am, because Wembley, it's not far from me. So yeah. Probably see them tomorrow. And normally fans that come here are normally in good voice because QPR's only down the road. So yeah, playoffs. Looking forward to them.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing it all this weekend, so it's going to be very interesting. Big up to Tony, he's already in the chat. My brother's team BBG. Okay,
it's the prodigal one.
Big up to Chris Welch. Hope you're doing well. One of his teams is actually involved on Sunday, Carlisle versus Stockport. So big up to Carlisle. Hope they make it. Thoughts on Lopetegui potentially leaving? It's a lot of hearsay for me. I did speak to a Wolves person yesterday. They're not scared that he'll leave. But, G, have you heard of the talk about obviously FFP issues? Do you think it would be a mistake for him to leave?
I mean, it's one of those situations where I think it just comes down to I think it's one of those situations where you just think you kind of got to just let it play out, really. And just kind of see, what the outcome is with regards to that. I've not followed it massively. So it's one of those things that's kind of worth keeping an eye on. But to be honest, I'm just going to kind of see how it plays out.
What about you, Brenny?
I had no idea. I hadn't even.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really seen anything on Sky Sports News, for example, recently in the last few days. But nah. I think why? Because there doesn't seem to be any stability at the club really there. You know what I mean? Managers keep coming and going. So, and they're safe. So I don't see what the issue would be, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless he's been headhunted by someone else.
Yeah. The thing is, they were at one point in time, they were a club that seemed like they were on the kind of upward trajectory, and they were going in a really, good, positive direction. The name of the manager escapes me. Is the one that ended up at Spurs.
Santo.
Yeah. So and I mean they were producing. Obviously, they were nicking some real quality talent from parts of the world, particularly Portugal. And it seemed like a club that was going in the right direction. You can kind of almost compare them to somewhat of a Brighton at the moment, or a Brentford. The recruitment was good. They had real consistency in terms of who was at the helm. But this is what football's like, one or two decisions on or off the pitch, and the landscape can change really quickly. I mean, Wolves was a club at one point in time you did not want to play. You just didn't. And they had that air of the Brighton and the Brentford. Brighton and Brentford are like those teams outside I would say, so to speak, outside the top six, that are on the brink of the top six, that are kind of competing for the European places, but never quite make it. But they're just an absolute nightmare. I mean, on their day, they can just tear you apart because they play good football. I kind of felt like that's what Wolves were at one point in time. They were a team full of some real quality players that clubs, quite sought after players. Emirates up top. I mean, he was linked with a move to United. You got Ruben Neves, who I'm absolutely gobsmacked is still there. You've got Traore, who was absolutely pulling up trees at one point in time. So yeah, it's whatever's happened on and off the pitch, footballing decisions that have been made has definitely impacted and somewhat stunted the progression of that club. So it will be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But I think at the same time, like, I can't remember if it was you, Bobby, or Brenny said, they're safe. And I think, for a lot of Premier League sides, that is the most, when it comes down to it, let's face it, that's the most important thing is, for the future of the club is to have that presence in the Premier League. You can see what it means to clubs like Nottingham Forest when they come up and they manage to stay up. It's huge. Financially, it's massive. But even for the fan base, to have a club that you're supporting in the Premier League is massive. So it'll be an interesting one to see how it all unfolds. I'll be watching closely. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll just add some detail to it. Fosun Group had an issue during the global issue that we all had. I don't want to mention what we're talking about, but you kind of get it. They lost a lot of money. So that's where the issues are coming from, is their own owners. They're having the financial issues. Ruben Neves will be leaving Wolves this summer. It's kind of already sorted. He won't be staying in the UK, just so everyone's fully aware. He's not staying in the UK. He is leaving to go abroad. So that's the details about Wolves. Lopetegui, obviously, if he leaves, the Wolves fans will be devastated because they love him. He has a different presence around the players, and you can see that on the pitch. So it's going to be disappointing. Obviously, I live so close to the Wolves, I will feel it. So this is why we need to win this weekend, Arsenal. I cannot. I won't be able to wear any Arsenal stuff if we lose. So Tony has got a severe issue with this Championship playoff final. He's definitely let us know in our WhatsApp group how he feels about it. Premier League season already over, with all due respect. 100% it is. However, still got one more game to play, and that's what I get excited by. And people have definitely got excited with the squads today, that's for certain. G is going to have a nightmare. Evening, gents. I'm nervous, excited, confident for my Carlisle in playoffs. Not been in the playoff final for decades. Feels, mate, I just hope you enjoy. I know you're going to the game, so I hope you enjoy the time.
I'm just glad Salford's not there. I'm glad Salford's not there.
Yeah, I think most of us
talk about Salford. You know what I mean? Everyone loves, they all talk about Salford Sky, not because of the club, the players, the fans. It's because of former United players. That's all I'm saying. And I was glad that. Big up Carlisle.
Yeah, exactly. Which players would you take from Wolves?
I mean, seasons gone by, I think they, like I was saying earlier, I think their players have been somewhat a lot more sought after. Sometimes it gobsmacks me that Ruben Neves is still there because he's literally been linked with a move to a top 6 Premier League club or the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid for God knows how long. So yeah, it's no surprise he's finally getting a big move because he has been, not so much this season, but in the past, he has been one of those players outside of the top 6 that you thought you could buy and potentially strengthen your side.
Yeah.
Seeing how they're performing this season, and that's why I say football changes so quickly. Because there was a time when I think most Arsenal fans would have taken Neves. I think most Arsenal fans would have taken, Pedro Neto. And I think at one point in time, we probably would have taken Traore. But right now, I mean, the Portuguese midfielder, Nunes, I really do like. I liked him when he played for Sporting, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that Wolves actually secured his signature and there wasn't actually more competition because at the time we needed midfielders. at the time the likes of Liverpool needed midfielders. So I was really surprised that he went there. So he's definitely one player that, if he's available, I'd potentially look at. Probably not everyone's favorite now. We're linked with the likes of Rice and Casado, but I think Nunez is a quality player. The only other player I would consider, and I'll probably get absolutely slaughtered for this, is, and it's not so much that I would go gun-ho for his signature, but I do like the type of player Emirates is up top. Prior to his injury, he was brilliant for me. He was really, really good. I know Bobby's losing it there, but for me, he was a quality centre forward. And then he got the injury and he just never came back the same. And when I look at obviously his form since the injury and obviously his age as well, he's not a player I would go for. But there was a point in time when I would have 100% backed the signing for Emirates at Arsenal. So not necessarily him, but I think a player of his type of profile is something Arsenal definitely need, which is a strong out-and-out centre-forward, real physical presence up top. So in a nutshell, the only player I would really probably consider is Nunez in midfield, if I'm honest.
Fair enough. What about you, Brenny?
Yeah. See,
Neves.
I thought you were just like.
No. Oh no, not at all. No, I'm just. For me, yeah, Neves is a player, but like you said, Bobby, he's going abroad, isn't he? So he's a player that I would have. You know, I mean, Pedro Neto's not a bad player either, but there was you see, when I look at Nelson Semedo, right, whenever Wolves are on TV and I look at Semedo, I see him, I mean, at fullback, he's quite tidy, I find. He's quite tidy. And, you know, a lot of the Wolves players haven't had the best of seasons. But I see, you know what, I'll tell you what, there's been quite a few right backs. We don't talk enough about all the right backs in the Premier League. And I look at Semedo and I think he could, in maybe another season or two, someone will snap him up. I don't think he's a bad player. He's very tidy. He's very reliable. You know, he's no Kyle Walker or say the Tommy Asu for us, Ben White. You know what I mean? Even Kieran Trippier, who I think has been the best right back in the league this season. You know, he's not that. But I find when I watch him, I just think, yeah, man, this guy's tidy. You know, he's good on the ball. Doesn't make a lot of errors, you know what I mean? And he's someone that I would take, but that's only in hindsight because I'm quite happy with what we got, you know. And but another player I would take if he had an end product work would be Traore, because if that guy, I mean, he goes. I'm gonna tell you what, Akinfenwa and him must go to the same gym because I tell you. He could be a player. I mean, I know he had that brief stint at Barcelona. He could be a player, but forget stats. There's just no end product with him.
Yeah, there's not. Literally.
And, you know what I mean? If he had that, if he had assists and goals, you'd be thinking, wow. But nah, man, he's a kind of person right now you'd want if you're in a club, right, and then someone wants to deck you. He's the kind of person that you'd need to back you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd probably achieve more of that than on the pitch. You know. So, but other than that, I cannot think of anyone else, to be honest with you. For me, they're not the same team they were 3 seasons ago. Definitely.
Yeah,
you know, they were 3 seasons ago, you did not want to face them compared to now.
Yeah, 100%.
And I thought we did a professional job on them as well in November.
Well, let's hope we do the same on Sunday because we need one. Big up to Citizen K. Greetings, fellas. BBG in the mix tonight. I trust you're having a blessed one. Shout out the boys from Mohammed Tamid Ahmed. Big up to you. Early predictions for next season, top 4. Top 4 for me, definite. I'm pretty sure we could all agree with that. Top 4 for the Arsenal next season.
Yeah, top 4, man. We're gonna win the league next year, man. Let's hope.
Tony, clip it. Tony, clip it.
Yeah.
Listen, man, we come second this year with zero expectations. So next year, I'm not saying we'll win it, but next year we have to be putting together another title run, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Chris, loving what you're talking about, Salford. He's got the highest budget in the league and still not managed to be promoted. And the funny thing is, Wrexham could literally just go up there in League Two next season and just go straight to League One. And the Salford boys, we sat there going, what have we done wrong? It's because you don't know how to run a club. Simple as that. Allow Traore to FIFA players, man. Traore should think about playing rugby. I'll tell you, he'll be good at NFL.
Yeah, he would be.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He'd be awesome at NFL. But guys, let's actually talk about the game and the preview now. Jeez, we have been severely sidetracked there. We had talk about before the stream as well. There's just, we're going to talk about the game now. Right, we've played Wolves 121 times in our history. It's been a bit mixed, and there is a reason why I do this. And if people go back and look at the Brighton, Southampton, West Ham games, you'll see that the results aren't always positive for us. So a surprise doesn't surprise me because I'm prepared for it. There's a few draws there. Yes, we win the majority of them, but there was a big, massive gap of 20 years because obviously Wolves were struggling back then. So, it's not too bad. Brenny, which ones can you remember? Can you remember 1984?
Oh, vaguely. I think.
Vaguely.
You know what? I think that was probably our biggest win of the season because that was like 83, 84 season that was. And Wolves got relegated that season. And they got relegated. And I can't remember the scores that day. But the thing is, I say it was probably one of the biggest win season because back then under Don Howe, we were quite strong at the back, but we struggled to score goals regardless of the talent we had at the time. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if at them scorers, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Woodcock and Paul Mariner were among the goals. You know what I mean?
Well, won't take me long to
so but obviously with if you go on to 2003, of course, that was in our Invincible season. 2011, Nicholas Bentner, I think, got amongst the goals there. The 12th of December. Yeah. Sorry, 12th of December, 12th of February.
Yeah.
But those 1-1 draws, that's what we were saying earlier, G. The 1-1 draws, that was them. They frustrated us.
Yeah.
And they just had this dogged determination. That's not the Wolves that we're going to be up against on Sunday. Yeah, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
So
Well, you were right with one of the goal scorers. Tony Woodcock was one of the goal scorers. Stuart Robson, Graham Ricks, and Charlie Nicholas.
Yeah.
They were the scorers that day.
Yeah, I did meet Tony Woodcock. Nice guy. I met him a few months ago. Really nice guy. But he was in a hurry though. But I did. He gave me a minute of his time.
Oh, bless him. But how are you feeling about the game this weekend? Are you confident? Do you think it's just not even worth a game? How are you feeling, Brenny?
Yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident we'll win 4-1. And the reason why, I know it's early for predictions, but I'm confident we'll win because there's no pressure. Pressure's off. Title's done.
Yeah.
Pressure's off. It'd be like last season. We didn't get top 4. Everton last game season. Players just no pressure. Did what they did. Did a professional job against Everton. I think it'll be the same again on Sunday.
What about you, G?
Well, geez, man. How'd you follow Brenny? Encyclopedia of Arsenal. Bruv, that was quite impressive. 84 I don't really remember because I was cooking nicely in my mum's belly, getting prepared to meet the outside world. And to be honest, I don't really remember a lot of these fixtures and results. What I do remember is just how difficult they were a team to play. And any time you saw that fixture, you kind of just went, "Oh God, this is going to be one of those games." And it's what Brenny touched upon in that they just had this thing about them. They scrapped for everything. They defended well. They sat deep, but then all of a sudden, they turned into a team that had enough quality up top that could hurt you and punish you. So they were just very tricky opposition to play against. And I do remember, I think it was last season when we were on the race or the journey to hopefully get in top 4, and we actually performed very well and we got a win against Wolves. And it was one of those games where you really celebrated, because it was like beating Wolves was no mean feat. It was something to be celebrated. So yeah, I mean, these results don't surprise me. That long list of draws doesn't surprise me at all. They were or they had become a very difficult side for any of the top teams, chasing the top 6, top 4, or the Premier League to actually face. So yeah, Wolves have definitely been one of those teams that a bit of a bogey team for us. I mean, ahead of this game, it's a difficult one, because it's like the game, in a nutshell, the game is completely meaningless in that, win, lose or draw, we stay second. So there literally is nothing really to play for other than a points total and our goal difference. And also just to finish the season on a high. And for that reason, I do think the game's important. I think any game you play, regardless if there's something to play for, whether it be the Premier League, an FA Cup, a Champions League, or if it's just a league fixture at the end of the season, I think it's important that we end the season as positively as possible. I really do. I don't think, as much as, we are disappointed that we couldn't get over the line in terms of the Premier League. I think most rational Arsenal fans will at some point calm down and still look at the season as a good season. I'm not saying it's success, but what I am saying is that on the whole, on the large part, we have seen progression. We've seen our club go from back-to-back 8th to 5th in the Premier League to now 2nd in an actual title race, and albeit for what I would call somewhat of a collapse. And I would put that down to 3 things. I'll put it down to fatigue. I'll put it down to a bit of a mentality issue, and also a little bit of lack of experience. Many of our players have never been in this position. They've never been in a title race. They don't know what it takes to, get over the line in the business end of the season. All we need to make sure is that we put ourselves in the same position next season with 10 games to go. And what we would have learned and experienced this year should see us through, hopefully, in future campaigns. So yeah, as much as this game seems kind of pointless, because nothing can be gained from it other than goal difference and points tally, I do think it's important for the boys to go out there and end the season on a high, and then we move next season. So I am feeling confident. I think we will get the win, and I think it will be very similar to what Brenny said with Everton last season. I think we didn't achieve what we set out to achieve in the latter stages of the campaign. Last season, the expectations shifted to a definite top 4 finish, and we didn't quite make it. This season, the expectations shifted to potentially winning the Premier League, and we didn't quite make it. But last season, we absolutely thumped Everton on the last game of the season, and I kind of expect something similar. I think the boys have got somewhat of a point to prove, and I think when you look at both clubs, Wolves are safe. They're not getting relegated. Arsenal have had a good season, but there must be this real burn to the players in terms of the fact that everybody's telling us we bottled it. They also must have looked in the mirror. They must have kind of had conversations with themselves and as a team. And as much as the game is meaningless, They do kind of. I think they will kind of want to, have a point to prove in this final game of the season, and I think it'll be nice for us to get the win. So I see a very similar fixture to the one against Everton at the end of the season last season. In that we'll probably get a convincing win.
Fair enough. I'm going to go into previous fixtures because you're saying that Wolves haven't got anything to play for. They haven't had anything to play for a while, but they do definitely put it on when they need to. At home, they're very hard to beat. It's the away, which does help us a little bit. They've been beaten 2-0 at Man U, 6-0 against Brighton against the second string Brighton, which was mad. And then Brighton lost 5-1 at home to Everton. Makes zero sense, but that's why I love the Premier League. It is the most unpredictable league in the world. And obviously we'll quickly cover ours. We haven't done very well recently, but there we go. We'll move on for those because I haven't seen a goal for 2 watch-alongs now. I need to see an Arsenal goal. That's all I need. Right, this is
results are crazy.
This is horrible, isn't it? Right, this is the important details for me. We are second; they're 13th. Average goal scores for them. Now, this is where possible we might get a clean sheet. 0.84 goals they score. They don't score many. Chances created, look at that, 0.76. So it's not like they're missed chances either. They're just very poor going forward. They're pretty good defensively. We'll get into that on my 5 to watch because I have put a defender in there and he has been quite influential at Wolves this season. Average goals conceded 1.43. We're 1.16. 13 clean sheets, but they've got 11 clean sheets. So it's not much difference between Wolves who haven't had the greatest season. And then you look at that as well, the actual rating of Neves compared to Odegaard. It's not much different. And Neves just goes under the radar every time. No one mentions him. No one mentions him at all. But he's had a great season once again at Wolves. And this summer, he will be leaving because Wolves are going to use the money to rebuild. So good on him. And Neves, massive respect for him for staying this long. He could have gone many times by now, but it is what it is. We're going to go into injury lists now. Don't panic too much about who's on there and who isn't. There is talk possibly Trossard has an issue. I haven't had it confirmed to me as of yet. So he's not on there, but there is possibility he might be unavailable as well. Saka's on there. He has got an Achilles issue. Nelson is on there because he's ill. Now, when it comes to illness, they can recover in time. So don't worry too much about that. But I had to put them on the list because that's who I was told. So they are our injury list compared to the Wolves, who normally have a massive list. They've got 2. Chiquinho, and I can never say his name, so I'm not going to try it. But the guy they signed from Bundesliga, played a couple of games, got injured, and never seen him again. So they're the injury list for both teams. Are you slightly concerned that Saka is injured, or are you not surprised, to be honest?
I mean, I'm not concerned. I picked him for my side because we'll go into lineups. I think it's important to pick the strongest lineup, and I'll give my opinions why when we do lineups. But I picked him. At the same time, I mean, if he doesn't play because he's picked up a knock last game of the season, which is not going to impact where we finish in the league, I'm not going to be concerned. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. The hope is that it's just not serious. He can get back to full fitness as soon as possible and have a full preseason. That would be my only concern. My only concern would be if the injury would impact, his preseason. Other than that, if it's just a knock and it's just a precaution for him to not play, then I'd rather him just sit out and not play. So if this was a game where we were still competing for the title, that injury list would probably concern me a lot more. But yeah, the in terms of what the game means, it doesn't concern me at all.
Yeah. What about you, Brenny?
No, doesn't concern me one bit. Actually, tell a lie. The one thing that does concern me, if depending on how serious the injury is, Gareth Southgate's going to want him in that England squad. That's coming. That is.
This boy gets no rest, man.
You know what I mean? He will be selected. and he'll want Saka to start as well, even if Saka's 80% fit. He'd want him to start.
Yeah.
You know, I personally, I think we as a national team will be okay in the qualifiers without him. But I personally wouldn't have an England squad so he can recover and look forward to pre-season.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get back into the comments. Big up to Luke. Sorry, Luke. For some reason, I somehow missed your comment. It was burning in the back of my head saying I haven't said hi to Luke because I know I saw you in the chat. Big up to Luke. Hope you're doing well. We need to do an Arsenal Mastermind stream with Brenny, 100%. Big up to Mars saying hi to Brenny and G. There's 60,000 people going to the game. Melina from Toronto is flying in. I agree with G. Every time we play is important. 100%. That there should be no excuses. And I know people have gone a little bit crazy with the lineups tonight, but I still think that it's out of respect for players that are possibly leaving. Give the chance to the youth players now, because I've been calling it for it all season. There is literally no reason now. It can't be down to, we're fighting for the title and all that stuff. No. We need to take some more hides and celebrate. Never's 100 million, not that much, unfortunately, for him. Odegaard, get lucky 16th, please. Is that that's for the record, isn't it? He's going for the record for Odegaard, I think, for this weekend. Plus, we need to win, so we have an even number of wins, draws, and losses. These things matter when you have OCD. Yes, totally agree with G's summary. The game doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but the lads should want to finish disappointing end to the campaign with some kind of consolidation win, 100%. Southgate didn't pick Bowen, so we know Saka is playing both games 90 minutes. I try my best never to talk about that guy on stream. Someone has to mention him, don't know. I can't stand that guy. Absolutely does me head in. I can't wait for England to move on from him, because honestly, that guy, if he picks Maguire, honestly, it's just mental. But there we go. Right, it's my 5 to watch, so get ready. And that's me in the video, just so everyone's fully aware. That's my football skills. Just so everyone's aware, that's me. clearly, you know, I dye my hair ginger just for streams. Right, so then my first player to watch this weekend is João Gomez, talented young little Brazilian. They got him from Ligue 1, I believe. I think it was Lyon. Absolutely. The fans love this guy more than they love Neves, and that just shows how much they love him. So watch out for him if he does play. Matheus Nunes, who G talked about earlier, not had the greatest season. And a lot of Wolves fans don't actually like him, weirdly. I actually rate him. I think he's very good. I just don't think he fits their system. I think that's what it is, once again. And it happens a lot. Players just don't fit systems and don't look so good. Ruben Neves, obviously, I had to put him in there. How can I not love him? He Chan Wang, and this is not because Moss is in the chat. It's because I actually do like him. I think he's very good. He hasn't set the world alight at Wolves, but I think he's got the talent to do if he was at a better club. I think it's, again, playing styles. It just doesn't fit him. But different club, different surroundings. I'm sure he'll do amazing. And the last one will surprise you, because he's 33, but I love him. Greg Dawson. Absolute brilliant defender.
Good player.
And he has changed that Wolves defence severely. Given some more good experience. Max Kilman, Nathan Collins, they were good, but they were struggling because they're both young. Neither knew who to take control. Greg Dawson's come in there and gone, right, I'm taking control. You do that, you do that. Much better defence, apart from the Brighton game. We'll just move on from that. And I spoke to a Wolves guy yesterday called Jeff, and he has gone for this predicted lineup. Right. So he's gone for Sarr, Semedo, Collins, Dawson, Tussie, Boubacar Traore, Neves, Nunes, Gomez, Sarabia, and Hwang. Now, Brenny, looking at that team, any worries that you have personally looking at that team?
No worries. And the reason why... Yeah. No, you know what it is? The reason why, I mean, well, Neves, I always find he's a threat. Doesn't matter, home or away. But I'm just looking at this thinking, you know what, with their away form and how it's been in recent weeks, we should have no worries in blowing them away. I think if we was playing them at home, it'd be a you know it'd be a tough game. I mean, you get that a lot, you know, with you know your away performances. No matter who you are in any league, your away performances have to be spot on.
Yeah,
You know, they have to be spot on. I mean, it's like for us, we're talking 22 years ago. We couldn't even we got nowhere near Man United one season league because our away form was atrocious, but our home form we was blowing everyone away. So yeah, it's I'm not worried. I'm not worried by any means, you know. But if this was a few weeks ago, maybe I'd have to look and think, you know what, we cannot be complacent. If we were still, you know, when we was in the title race, so I'd look at that game, I think could be, you know, but Neves for me, you just don't want him on the ball. We have to, you know, we have to close him down. We have to stop the supply to him to, you know, because he can do things. We know how good he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he for me, he's their danger man.
What about
And
you, G? Oh, sorry.
just to add, Bobby, Ruben Neves as well. He's going to want to last game in the Premier League. He's going to want to go out on a high.
Yeah, I'm sure he will actually. Yeah, we have one of those crackers the weekend. Right, G, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to say that with him, that with that being his last Premier League game, chances are, God forbid, he'll score a screamer, won't he? I mean, he's got some strike on him. So yeah, I mean, no, you know, it's crazy because this is what I keep saying is just how quickly things change in football, and the landscape of the Premier League changes so much. You know, a team you somewhat feared, you know, a season or two ago, dreaded the fixture, you kind of look at now and think, yeah, I fancy my chances beating them. I mean, I'd be pretty disappointed if we didn't get anything other than a win, to be honest. And that's just based on what we've done and how they've performed this season. Chalk and cheese between the two clubs in terms of on the pitch performances. The problem is that our form is just so unpredictable at the moment. I mean, you know, we've had defeats, you know, we've been slapped about by Man City. Then we beat Chelsea very impressively, one at St. James's Park, and then back-to-back defeats against Brighton and Forest. And you just, I mean, you can't write this stuff. You can't make it up. It's just, it's been so inconsistent. So we could equally turn up on Sunday and absolutely batter Wolves and put 5 or 6 past them, or they might nick a 1-0 win. You really just can't tell, you know, what Arsenal is going to turn up at the moment. There was a time this season when you knew what Arsenal was going to turn up.
Yeah.
But right now, since, you know, the wheels have somewhat fallen off, our form is very, very inconsistent. You know, you just think like winning at St. James's Park, like that is a phenomenal result. And then that's and then straight after that, you know, you get completely dominated by Brighton, like dominated. It wasn't even that Brighton got away with a lucky win. They were the better team. And then against Forest, we were absolutely abysmal. We didn't look like we'd score a goal, even if we played 180 minutes of football. So it's just a weird one. It's just a weird one. But there's nothing in that Wolves side that I think, as Arsenal fans going into this game, we should be afraid of or fear. I think they've had a very poor season by their standards. A lot of their players haven't consistently performed. And which, you know, the thing that you pointed out, they've really struggled to score goals. So it'd be nice to kind of keep it tight, get a clean sheet, and then score a couple of goals at the other end. But yeah, nothing to fear. But having said that, this is the Premier League, and it's so unpredictable. So anything literally can happen. And some games are made to look easy, but in theory, depending on how the team turns up and performs, no games are easy in the Premier League, you know. So we'll just have to see, you know, how Wolves approach the game and how Arsenal approach the game on Sunday. But nothing in their lineup makes me worry or concerns me at all. If we turn up and we play the football that we've played for the large part of the season, I think we absolutely stroll the game. If we turn up and play the way we've played, in some instances or certain patches in the Premier League, then they've got every chance to get something from the game.
Yeah, 100%. Right, Moss is saying here, I don't want. This is nothing to do with me. This is just what we're talking about. Saka. Look, I've said, and Brenny can vouch me. I said I don't want to see Saka again for the rest of the season. I want him going on holiday. I want him to enjoy the rest. I don't want to see Saka, but this is everyone's lineups. I don't say anyone's wrong. It's their own choice, and they'll explain it as well, and that's absolutely fine. I don't tell anyone what to pick, who to pick. It's free world, and I love that. Big up to Colm. Hope you're doing well. Moss has gone through his 5 to watch himself. He's gone for Gomez, Nunes, Semedo, Podence. So overrated, that guy. And Kilman. Podence, he's got nothing about him, to be honest. But yeah. Right, let's get into our team.
Head down, push forward through the tough times, because anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up.
Okay, so we're going to start with G Talks team first. G went for Ramsdale, White, excuse me, Kivior, Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, and Jesus. It was also chosen by Nicholas, Mehmet, and Richard. G, explain away.
I picked this 11 because this is the 11 in terms of the players that are available. From what I know, this is the 11. The best possible 11 that we can pick. These players have been, crucial, been fundamental for the reason why we had a title challenge in the first place, which none of us expected. And I have to admit, I've been somewhat disappointed with the way the season has fizzled out, with which, after so much promise and potential for it to be, glorious. I'm not doom and gloom. I'm not, Kroenke out, Arteta out, players out, and all of that. But I'm an Arsenal fan that loves my club, and I'm upset. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to see us win the Premier League. It's been near 20 years that we've had a proper title challenge, and I wanted us to go all the way. So I was definitely upset, and I've picked this team because I just think, you know what? You need to go out there and put on a show. And actually, just finish the season on a high. I don't want, as much as it's been so disappointing, it's happened. It's done. There's no point banging on about it now. We just need to get the win against Wolves, press ahead to the summer, get our recruitment right, and we move and we go again next season. But for me, this game is important for that reason. I think it's really important that the lads go out there and perform well and end the season on a positive for the Arsenal fans. I think it's the least the Arsenal fans, particularly match-going fans, deserve with the season that we've had. It's been a season of promise. It's been a season of emotions, and it would be good to end that roller coaster on somewhat of a high, even though the actual main high that we wanted wasn't delivered. So I've picked the strongest. I'm not going to go individually through the players. I've picked the strongest team and strongest 11 that I could pick. The only reason why I've put Trossard in that lineup is because Martinelli, as far as I'm aware, is out for the rest of the season. I've put Katie in there because, as far as I'm aware, Zinchenko is out for the rest of the season. But as far as I'm aware, all the other players are fit. Saliba's not there as well because I understand he's out for the rest of the season. So the only 3 players that would have featured would have been Martinelli, Zinchenko, and Saliba. They're out, so I've picked Kivior, Katie, and Trossard in their place. So I'm going all out, full strength, get a convincing win to end the season on a high.
Fair enough. Brenny, you got any issues with this team if this was the lineup on Sunday?
No, none at all. And echo everything G just said, because they, if that is the side, I think it will be the side, or maybe Jorginho in for Thomas Partey if but if Saka's not fit to play as well, I think Reece Nelson will come in. So, but they owe it to the fans. They owe it to everyone to, to give us a performance, really. I mean, when I look at it now, it has been a good season, but it's been a poor end to the season, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? Because when I look at it now, I'm disappointed all I will say, I'm disappointed in the fact that we were top for so long, and it's just the way we capitulate. You know, with poor results we had at the end of the season. I wouldn't be as disappointed if we were chasing City, and then we were few points behind, and then all of a sudden they've just gone on. You know, so then I'd be like, okay, at least we were in there, but we fell short. But the fact we were top for so long, that's what frustrates me. But yeah, that side, yeah, it's they owe us a performance. Finish on a high.
Yeah, 100%. Cannon Club has got I wouldn't say an issue, but obviously he's questioning your party over Jorginho. Look, guys, a lot of people have mixed them up as well.
Yeah, I mean, what it is for me is, I think I completely understand what Cannon Club is saying completely, because Partey's form has been abysmal. He's been one of the senior players that has gone off form at the wrong time in terms of this Premier League season. I think last season he got injured at the back end of the season, and then this season he just completely lost form. And look, if Arteta picks Jorginho, I have no issue with it. Jorginho probably, well, I wouldn't even say probably, on reflection of form, Jorginho deserves to play. The reason why I've picked this side is because, for me, I feel that bar the players that are injured, this was the team that got us into a title race. So it's not a reflection of how they're playing right now, but I think for the large part, let's face it, other than the last 10 games, you wouldn't even have dreamt of dropping Partey for Jorginho. You wouldn't even have dreamt of it. You know, right now, people will question the inclusion of Partey because his form's been atrocious. But for me, if I was the coach, I would pick these players, some of them because they've been instrumental to us having a title challenge, but also I want to see what you're about. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like you've got us this close to the promised land, and for whatever reason, there's been a fall off in your performance. You know, if you can't go out in the final game of the season, Thomas Partey, and put in a performance, you know, to give the fans something to cheer, then we need to reevaluate your future at this football club. That's how I see it. All players can lose form. Don't get me wrong, all players can. And I think at any part, you know, at different parts of the season, all these players have somewhat had bad games or patches where they've not performed to their best ability. I know White went through it. Ramsdale's made mistakes. You know, Gabriel's had a couple of, you know, kind of bozo moments. Odegaard has not played brilliantly every single game. But for the large part, these 11 players have been magnificent for the large part. So this me picking this team is to say, look, you know, you got us in a strong position. We've not finished where we want to finish, but I want you to go out there and show me what you're about, because I just think it's really important that we finish the season on the high. I think it's really important for me to select the team of the vast majority of players that got us there. I don't want this game to have a pedestrian, you know, what do they call it? Testimonial feel to it. I really don't. I don't want it. And I think it's important that we send the message out that regardless of the season, you know, not having finished the way it ought to have finished, every single game is important. Every single point is important. And they need to be professional. I don't want to see any players, you know, already thinking about their vacations or how many cocktails they're going to be drinking at the bar by the pool. You know, you've got a job to do. You're wearing that shirt. So, and there's still a season game to be played. So, you know, put on your boots, get out there and let the fans know, yes, we disappointed you. Yes, we didn't deliver what we should have delivered, but we're going to, you know, send you home with a convincing 3 points. So Partey may have been abysmal in the last few games. Well, mate, you're not sitting on the bench for this. I'm putting you out there and you better put in a performance. Otherwise, you might have to collect your P45 come summer.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. A lot of people have gone for different options, and I get it. And I've not been angry with any of them. There's some that might give G some issues, but Look, this is the last game of the season. We haven't seen some players. It is true that maybe they should get a chance to play in the new shirt, as Moss has said. We are wearing
get
a new
it.
shirt,
I do get it.
which is beautiful, by the way. It is a beautiful shirt. Right, let's move on to the next team. Brenny, yours is up next, mate, just so you know. This was chosen by Albert, Tony, and Tonin. They all forgot that Martinelli was out for the season. So they've gone for Ramsdale, White, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Eddie. I'm just going to ask you for a rating out of 10 for this one, because obviously we've got quite a few teams to go through. And I'm pretty sure we want to sleep at some point tonight. So, G, out of 10, what would you give this team?
I mean, I've got to give that team a strong 8. It's a really strong side. I think it makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.
Brenny, what about you, mate?
Looking at that, I'd have to say an 8 as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Fair enough. Awesome's job. Obviously, Martinelli is out, so that they would have chosen.
That's a fee. You know what, Bobby? That's a FIFA 23 side. That's what it is.
Tony's obviously it's his team, so Holding deserves a good send off, 100%. And I think a lot of people have been looking at that and seeing who potentially could be going. This is why there's going to be some strange squads. G, I will warn you. So just prepare for yourself for it, because I know you have slight issues with some strange ones. Brenny, this is your team, also chosen by Kelly, Jonas, and Josh. You went for Turner in goal, Walters, Holding, Kivior, Tierney, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Kozier, Dubry, Trossard, and Eddie. I will ask G for a rating, but Brenny, just explain why you've gone for Kozier and Walters.
Because of the fact that those two have an understanding in the under 21s.
Yes, they do.
And and I think it would work well, even in this game where there's no pressure. So I would play it to them. I mean, if we were still in the title race, there's no way on God's green earth I would play those two. Wouldn't play those two if it went down to the final day. So I think they could work well on that right-hand side. I know that it's more unlikely. It's not going to happen. Rob Holding, I would give him a start as well, because if he is going in the summer, I mean, the loyalty he's shown at Arsenal is second to none.
Yeah.
And you can never fault players, regardless of their ability, when the loyalty they show at this club. Where they want to be a part of this club, and it cannot be faulted, And like I said, Rob Holding is an old fashioned centre half, and there's not many of them around. There's not many like him. You know what I mean?
No.
And I would start him on Sunday. I hope he starts on Sunday. Thomas Partey, I put him ahead of Trevor because I thought, just like G does, I said, yeah, man, he owes us performance because he's one of my favourite players this season. First half of the season, I rated him 10 out of 10, but he's been shocking ever since. He owes us a performance. He really does. Granit Xhaka, last game, you know what I mean? Last game, thank you, matey. Granit Xhaka. Probably his last game for the club. I think he's had his best season at Arsenal. He definitely deserves to start. And Eddie up front, I think he can get a couple of goals. I think he still wants to be a part of the Arsenal. And Trossard, he's last couple of games, he's not been himself. Let's hope he can put in a good performance as well. And as for Turner, I think it'd be his first league start. So give Turner a chance, Yeah, I don't think he started in the league yet. So, yeah.
Right, G, you've listened to Brenny. What are you going to mark? You're going to give him?
I mean, I'm going to give it a strong 7. I think it makes a lot of sense. Give Turner, get some blood circulation in those legs and those hands. holding a send-off, like Brenny said. The future of Arsenal down the right-hand side, I'd love to see that. Xhaka, deserves all the plaudits his last game for the Arsenal. And to be honest, I know people might react, but I'd happily let this be Eddie's last game as well, personally. So, I'd give it a strong 7. I think it's a nice mixture of, first team players as well as kind of fringe players. Some players with a point to prove as well, the likes of Trossard and Partey. But strong 7 should be enough to win the game.
Just so Luke's fully aware, I have seen your question, mate, and I will leave it till the end of the lineups, just because I want to talk about it a little bit. So I will get into that question, Luke. So don't worry, I have starred it in, and we'll get into it at the end. But good 7 for Brenny's team. Let's go into James's team that he went for, which is just ratings now. So we're going to go. He went for Turner, White, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Jesus. I wasn't 100% sure how he wanted Smith Rowe, so it might be a false 9. Nelson might be on the left, Jesus on the right. I'm not 100% sure. So this is what I think he meant. Maybe it might be slightly different. Brenny, what are you going to give James?
That I'll give him. I would say 8, because that's his backline strong, but it's that midfield. It's that midfield for me. It's very strong.
Yeah.
So I'd get it'd be 8 for me.
G, what about you, mate?
Yeah, strong 8. Good side. Nice to see SR in there as well.
Moss is trying to annoy me by 0.5s, but he has rounded it up due to the fact he knows I can't stand halves. Just can't stand them. They do my head in. I don't know why. It's just really wind me up. Right, this team was chosen by Luke. He's gone for Ramsdale, Walters, White, Gabriel, Tierney, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Koji Dubry, Nelson, and Eddie. G, rating for this one, please, mate.
Very similar to the other side that I rated 7, with the likes of Eddie and the future of Arsenal down the right-hand side. So not what I would pick, but I still think it would be a very interesting side to see play. So, strong 7.
Awesome. Brenny?
Yeah, 7 for me as well. And the midfield is still strong as well.
Awesome stuff. Citizen going with the 8. Good, he's listening to my advice. Please don't give me halves. Honestly, they really stress me out. Right, this team was chosen by Moss and Stan. They went for Turner, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Tierney, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, and Jesus. Brenny, rating for this team, please.
If that's a side for Sunday, for me, it'd have to be a 9. Okay, that's very strong, I find. I mean, I know Saka, but I'd go. It's 9 for me.
No, it's fine. Moss, you can't mark your own. G, we go with this one.
Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, Jorginho arguably probably deserves to play over Partey, and giving Turner a run out last game of season. So strong 9.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Moss is marking his own, giving it a 10, unsurprisingly. Funny enough, you can't mark your own. Right, this team was chosen by Carlos and Jack. Slight difference. G, please be nice. Ramsdale, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Sousa, Bandera, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Koji Dubry, Eddie Nketiah, and Jesus. Now, what I will give you some details about why Carlos and Jack did this. They did it for people that are not going to be here. They dropped them all. They want to give the chance to players that obviously Smith Rowe, there's a bit of and ahhing, but they want to give them a chance. And the players that are gone, for them, they shouldn't be playing. That's their opinion. I'm not going to question it. So, G, what are you going to give this one?
I mean, I'm not going to be too critical because of what the game means in terms of the season. It doesn't mean very much. Yeah. And I mean, it would be quite interesting to see a lot of these players. I mean, I'd be really intrigued. So I'm not going to be too critical. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay, cool. Brenny?
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, 7 as well. Last game of the season. Some of the youngsters, give them a run. Yeah. See what they got to offer for next season.
Yeah.
100%. Just so everyone knows, Bandeira is a 19-year-old Portuguese defensive midfielder. He can actually play midfield and slightly attacking midfield as well. He's quite talented. Moss, you're trying to annoy me. He's putting a 0.5 again. Right, so brilliant stuff. We'll go into Miguel's team. He's gone for Ramsdale, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Sousa, Jorginho, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Cozy, Dubry, Eddie Nketiah, and Jesus. Now, I like this one because obviously Eddie has gone out to the left again. Right, we'll go with you, Brenny, first for this one. Rating, please.
I'm gonna get that. I'd say. Oof, it's got to be a 7 or 8. I would go with, looking at that, solid 7.
Okay, cool. G?
Yeah, I agree. Solid 7.
Awesome stuff. We've got 2 more to go with. Sittons and Cade, Lights, Carlos and Jacks. Interesting midfield. 7. Be a cool front 3 for that one. 8. Oh dear, I'm paying for it now, aren't I? Miguel's 7.5, and now Moss is doing an 8.33. Just to really annoy me. Okay, Ben and Tim's team next. They've gone for Turner, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Sousa, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Odegaard, Cozy, Dubry, Nelson, and Eddie. G?
You know what? I quite like this team.
Okay.
I quite like this team. Vieira Vieira, I've been patient. Next season, you need to level up a bit, mate. I've not said a bad word about this kid because I feel like there's such a good player in there. I've been really, really patient with him. Nelson, we're aware is going to sign a new contract, so it'd be nice to see him play. And Dubry just looks elite. I've seen some clips of him in training, so I would really like to see him at some point. Despite me not picking him, I really like this team, so I'm going to give it a strong 8.65. Sorry, Bobby.
Seriously. Right, that's being rounded up to 9. Simple as that. Brenny.
Oh dear. You know what? It's For me, I'd have to go 7. For me.
Okay. Even Luke started it now. Come on.
I couldn't resist.
Luke's doing a 7.77. Seriously. Right. The last one, Aussie Gooner. Right. He was an interesting one. He did pick up a team, and then he also put Saka or Nelson. Obviously, I was meant to choose, but then he chose a flip of a coin and chose Saka. So he's gone for Ramsdale, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Tierney, Jorginho, Partey, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, and Jesus. Brenny, your rating for Aussie Gooners?
That for me is a 9.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a very strong lineup. 9 out of 10 for me.
Awesome stuff. G?
Yeah, I mean that's more or less full strength in terms of the players that are available. So yeah, it's got to be a 9. 9.85 maybe.
That was the 100 meters world record a few years ago, wasn't it?
And as Lucas said here, is diving score settings. Yes, it is, and I think that's probably what it's got something to do with. I used to watch a lot of diving, and it just kind of wound me up a lot. All these 0.5s and 0.15s. But yes, big up to everyone that's done the teams. I really appreciate it. I love when people go crazy on their teams. And G didn't lose it, but then to be fair, it is the last game of the season. I think that was
that's what I mean. Yeah, I can't be too harsh, man. I can't be too harsh.
If it was the first game of the season, I think he might have lost it a little bit on some of those teams. But guys, you know what's coming now. You know what's coming. And it's actually different because Tony hasn't sent his team in. He did say he would. He didn't. So you're up against Jeff and Moss. Moss has sent his team in. I've typed it up. So Moss's team is against you and Brenny's tonight. So let's get into it, guys. Big up to everyone on Twitch as well. Before we start this, we've obviously got some form of what they call a raid from Twitch. I love the names, but I honestly have no idea what they're trying to say. No, nos house leader. I love the guys. Thank you ever so much for coming over from Twitch, but I honestly have no idea what any of you guys are saying. Apart from this one, Real Betis. I know who they are. Their intro. Has anyone actually seen their intro with the violin dude?
No, I haven't.
Honestly, check it out on YouTube. It's amazing. Their entrance is incredible. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's absolutely incredible. But big up to everyone on Twitch. Honestly, the numbers have gone crazy off Twitch. So big up to everyone who's raided. Love it. Yeah, Moss sent in a challenge. He has, and he did hate it at first, but he loves it. It's because it's just a beautiful thing to do. Everyone knows 5 from the Wolves, 6 from the Arsenal. We go with the home formation, and it happens to be Arsenal. So I'm going to let G have 3 choices and then Brenny 2. So we're going to start with G with your first choice, please, for the Wolves.
I'm going to go for, it's got to be the one name on the team sheet that you want to have from Wolves. It's got to be Ruben Neves, isn't it?
Yeah, surprise. Okay, Brenny, your first choice, please.
Ooh, go with Nelson Semedo.
Okay.
Right back.
Okay, G.
I'm going to go with a little bit. I'm going to go with a bit of experience. I think something we've lacked back end of the season. So I'm going to go with Craig Dawson at the back.
Good idea. There we go. Brenny?
Go with, I would say, Neto.
Okay, do you want to put him on the left?
Yes, please.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, so G, you've got your final choice now, mate.
It's now whether I want two forwards or 2 midfielders. I don't want 2 forwards, so I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Nunes in midfield.
Yeah. You want to put him there next to Neves, or do you want him as CDM?
I want him because I want Odegaard in the side, preferably.
Okay, no worries. I'll put Nunes.
Yeah.
Back there. Not a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fine with me. Right, we're going to do with the Arsenal team now. So it's obviously Cole Hine in goal, as we always know, every time, no matter what. Mr. Ramsdale. Okay, centre backs. Obviously, you both have to agree with what centre back you want to go with. So, G, who's your choice?
If it's all players fit or injured, I'm gonna go with Saliba.
Okay, Brenny.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Not a problem. Left back.
For me, Zinchenko.
Brenny.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Okay, and you both agreeing with Odegaard?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
player of our season, mate.
Yeah.
Okay. Saka on the right, I'm guessing.
Starboy, yes.
Okay, and Jesus up front, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, so this is the team that the Armoury lads have chosen. They've gone for Ramsdale in goal, Semedo, Saliba, Dawson, Zinchenko, Nunes, Odegaard, Neves, Saka, Neto, and Jesus. Very good team. But now this one with Jeff actually caused an issue. There was actually a bit of a heated argument between me and him on this one, due to the fact he chose Kivior over Gabriel. And his words were, he can't stand Gabriel. He never wants to see him at the Molineux ever again. Now, I'm guessing that is something to do with the history of the Arsenal versus Wolves at the Molineux. So he picked Kivior. I was quite shocked, I have to admit. Normally, I just allow whoever you want to choose. But when he went for Kivior, which I do like him, don't get me wrong. but he didn't pick Gabriel. I was like, okay, what the heck? But anyway, Jeff, big up to Jeff. Lovely guy, really funny. He's gone for Neto, Martinelli, Saka, Neves, Odegaard, Moutinho, Tierney, Kivior, Saliba, Semedo, and Sarr. No, not for me. Just no. Moss, you've lost due to the fact that Jimenez, 2 years ago, this would have been probably a team that would have competed. No, not now. Honestly, I'd say 95% of the Wolves fans would literally pay an Uber to get him out of the club.
It's mad, isn't it? How that's turned around, isn't it?
Yeah,
Things, you know.
They don't want to see him there. I honestly, I think he's probably going to go to MLS at some point.
Crazy, man.
Look. I get the horrible injury that he had, and it does really affect you. And I have no grudges about the actual person that he is, but obviously it's affected him mentally, and it does. It affected Petr Cech as well, didn't it? And it's affected so many players over the years of a bad injury. Exactly. So, guys, you have won because I think your team.
I think that's the first one.
Yeah, of that, I just think it's beautiful. I honestly do. I love the fact that you've actually gone for Dawson. That is, for me, a real soft spot because he's 33, and not a lot of people talk about 33-year-old defenders because they're normally going out of their game. But for me, he's changed that Wolves defence, which for the better. Yes, but it's allowed because I like Neto, so it's allowed. So, I have no issues. Moss is not happy.
Moss is trying it, man.
Moss is fuming. But guys, in the comments, please get your predictions in for the Sunday game. I'm going to start with you, Brenny. I can't remember what exactly you said earlier. I think it was 4-1, but
4-1.
I'm not sure. It was 4-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
G.
Pressure's off. 4-1.
I want a clean sheet. And I want to get a couple of goals. I think it will be a lovely way to end the season. So I'm going to go 3-0.
Okay. Mine is 4-0. I think we will get a clean sheet, mainly because I looked at the stats and stuff, and it kind of swung me. I was like, yeah. Jeff has actually gone for a 2-1-2 Wolves. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was eating or something taking that day, but honestly, it is whatever it is. I need some of it. Tony going for a confident 7-0 to the Arsenal. I'm writing it down, Tony. You know I always write it down. I wanted a late season victory. Sorry, Moss, you overthink it sometimes. And Jimenez was very good 2 seasons ago. Not anymore. Odegaard 3-1 is what Moss is going. Guys, if you're watching this back on playback, please put your predictions in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. We'll always big you up. And because I'm going to say this about big you up, Dan, who was on the last week's show with a Forest fan, he actually predicted a 1-0 to Forest. He said he spoke to me off stream. He said he was talking about it, and he said because he's quite well known in the Forest, Nottingham area, and it was a lady in a coffee shop. She just asked him, and he said 1-0 to the Forest straight away, off the top of your head, and he said, "I just kept with that prediction all week." So big up to Dan, brilliant show with him as well. Citizen K has gone for 5-0. Oh dear. I hope so, because I've done 2 watch-alongs now with no goals. Right, Luke, we're not going to finish yet, mate, because I have got your questions. Is the Arsenal versus Wolves game on TV? Now, as far as I remember, every last game of the season on Sky Sports, they do a red button option. I'm pretty sure they do. I hope so, because I want to watch it. If not, I'll be watching, West Ham versus Leicester or something, or whatever the games are. I can't remember what they are. I know it's the relegation battles, but I'm pretty sure it's red button option on the last day, isn't it? Can anyone remember?
Yeah, it usually is. I mean, the 3 games that are officially being televised is Villa, Brighton, Everton, Bournemouth, and Leicester, West Ham. Officially, but yeah, there usually is a red button option for the last game of the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. And we'll go into this comment now, which is what Luke said earlier, and it is something that I do want to talk about. Are they going to announce Xhaka leaving so he can have his send off, Bobby? Right. Xhaka has made his mind up. Arsenal know the decision. It's up to them when they make the decision. Now, I was expecting it either today, if I'm honest. Would it be tomorrow? I think it's a bit stupid the day before a game. Look, I wish him every success. You know, I have no grudges against Xhaka. I wanted him before we signed him from Richmond Gladbach. So I have no issues with the player. He just didn't fit the system at the time. Now he's fitted the system. He's now coming to the end of his career at Arsenal. I wish him every success. And what I would say is this morning, when we did the news show, there is a link with Tapsoba, who is from Leverkusen. There could be something going on between the two clubs now. Who knows? But there will be an announcement. It will be from Granite, by the way. It won't be Arsenal first. Arsenal will probably comment after Xhaka has decided, because it is all on Xhaka right now. I know he's made his decision, so it's waiting for Granite to do whatever he wants. But it's up to him, I suppose, at the end of the day. But I would have thought it would be a good idea to do it pre-game. But maybe he's decided to just focus on the game. Move on. Who knows? Talking about Xhaka, Brenny, I can't remember if I've asked you about this. Are you going to be sad to see him go?
No, I'm not going to be sad to see him go, but I am gonna. I mean, I was never one of his biggest fans, but what he's done this season has been fantastic, and that's all you could ask for. It's all you could ask for. You just want players to, to prove you wrong, and he's done that. Mind you, saying that, his form actually, the form that I saw he was in, it was even before. It was towards the end of last season where he showed glimpses, of what he's done this season. So I wouldn't be sad to see him go, and just wish him all the best.
Yeah,
really, that's all I can say. So yeah.
G, what about you?
No, I mean, I've not been Xhaka's biggest fan over the years, but at the same time, he's had a brilliant season. He's been one of our better performers. He's given us some, real lows over the years, but he's given us some real highs this season in particular. But you know what it is with me is like, and you could probably relate to this. I mean, I've seen players of the likes of Armoury and Vieira leave our club, and I think if we can see some of the greats of my time growing up leaving the club and move on, then some of the other players that will obviously leave this summer, I think it's not really going to hurt. We've had some real bad ones in the likes of Fabregas and Van Persie that have really hurt. So I think it's the right time for Xhaka to move on. But I also think it's the right time to not be too sentimental as well. We've got so close this season to winning the Premier League. And in order to win that, we have to be ruthless. And in doing so, we need to just, move certain players on and bring certain players in. And Xhaka, as good as he's been, he holds a position in the team that we can elevate and that we can level up in terms of like bringing in another player. So, I mean, there's only a few players in this Arsenal side for me that are untouchable. I would say Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Gabriel, Saliba, and maybe Ramsdale off the top of my head. All the rest, I think for me, it depends on what you're offering. But I think there are a core of that starting 11 that are just, for me, I'm not even picking up the phone. Like, I'm just not interested. You send me an email, it's gone straight into the junk. But for some of those players in that team, as good as they've been, I'd be open to seeing what another team would be potentially offering. So, I think it's the perfect time. I think sometimes in football, it just feels right, and I think right now feels like the right time for Xhaka to say his goodbyes and Arsenal to say their goodbye to him. And I wish him all the success. And I'm really, I'm actually really glad that he's leaving at the end of this season. where I think the vast majority of Arsenal fans, regardless of what your opinion was of him before, have somewhat come around and can appreciate, some of the quality and value and contribution that he's made. So it's nice that he's going out on a high, and I think it's the perfect timing. The last thing I'd want is for him to maybe stay longer, another couple of seasons, and then there be somewhat of a turnaround, a negative turnaround in the other direction. So yeah, I think it's perfect timing. I wish him all the best. I think it actually kind of works out better if it's post game. I wouldn't have been a massive fan if they did any, because when they started talking about announcements before the game, I'm like, hold on, like, yeah, I know we're not winning the league, but we still have a game to play, we still have a game to win. So I think, focus on the game, and I think post game, we'll probably tell by the way he reacts and interacts with the fans that it's his last game, and then I think maybe that evening or the day after, a message on bank holiday weekend, I think would be absolutely fitting. So. Yeah, wish him all the best. He's had a great season.
Yeah, guys, it's been a great preview. Nearly an hour and a half. I do apologise. My streams just don't. I'm not short anymore. I do apologise. I had a 2-hour one. It's about a little bit of a chat, and it ended up 2 hours. But guys, really appreciate it. Brenny, where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, you can find me here on the Armoury TV, and you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. If you've seen my Twitter today, it's basically lit up with Anfield 89, and I'll also be putting on some past Arsenal versus Wolves fixtures from back in the day and from a few years ago. So, you can find me on those on them.
Brilliant stuff. G, where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, the handle's on the screen. I do the vast majority of my interacting on Twitter. So that's the handle at G Talks Arsenal. So if any of you are on Twitter, please follow me up. Thank you for everyone obviously tuning in. If you haven't liked the stream, please do get that like in. And if for whatever reason you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. I think we're 20 away now from the 1K. So it'd be great if we could wrap that 20 up before the end of the season. But yeah, just a massive thank you to everybody who tuned in. Blessings to you, Bobby. Brilliant host as ever, and an absolute pleasure sharing the platform with both yourself and Brenny. Can't wait for the next opportunity.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Luke says, I agree with Brenny and Gio over Xhaka. Me and Moss said this summer, right time to sell Xhaka. I think it's time for Partey to go as well. 100% for me. Xhaka gets my blessing. He's been good servant to the Arsenal. Controversial one, but he's had a good end to his Arsenal. Shame he never got a title winner's medal. And it is all. 100%. So Jordan, exactly. As Moss has just said, this weekend I've got loads to do. I've got the Coventry Luton game watch along on FTSN tomorrow. Sunday, I'm doing about 5-hour stream. I've got the Carlisle Stockport game, then go straight into the Arsenal Wolves game. And then on Monday, I'm doing Barnsley versus Sheffield Wednesday. And then next week, I will be back to at least 2 Arsenal news shows after half term, which is, I don't know what week that is, the week commencing sometime in June. There will be a season review. There will be a few of them because we want to get people that are all to do with the Armoury, but we're all on different time zones. So we're going to try and do different timed ones. So there'll be one in the daytime, there'll be one in evening time, just to get as many people on, but also different opinions as well, because we all don't want to say, Saka's had a great season. Well, we'll just end it there, then, shall we? Different opinions. People are entitled to opinions, and that's what I'm here for. Is to listen to people's opinions, not say you're wrong. Just listen to them, because people see football differently, and that's absolutely fine. But guys, really appreciate it. Really appreciate Brenny and G coming on. That is the last preview of the season. It's been a long one. But we will always be back on the Armoury because we've got so much content to do. There's the city window starts out soon, so we'll be talking loads transfers. There'll be loads of stuff to talk about. I guarantee the Armoury will still do at least 2 or 3 streams a week. I guarantee it. There's a few people on here that just never seems to come off camera. I love talking Arsenal. It's my hobby. It's my love. It means so much to me, and I love sharing the news with you guys when there's new stuff coming out. Like literally this morning, kit drop. We set up a stream anyway. It was about
Yeah.
Nelson. The kit dropped. I've already ordered mine. G, have you ordered yours?
Yeah. I have.
Brenny, have you ordered yours?
No, I'm still after retro tops.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, a lot of people
No,
like the retros. The
yeah.
new training kit one I love as well. The total red, the Thunder stripes. I've got that for Blake for his birthday as
Listen,
well.
the missus is
Oh,
pissed,
nice.
man, because it's like parcels just end up showing up at the door, innit? And I'm just like, the other day she found something, yeah. Like I was in the room, I got a parcel. I'm like a bloody kid, and I just put it in the drawer. And then she was doing something around the room, and she was like, "What is this?" I was like, oh, just some training top I found, whatever. But yeah. So I have. She doesn't know I've ordered it, but I have ordered it.
Big up to Citizen comment. Blessing, guys. Great show as always, Bobby. Peace be upon you. Have a great end to your evening in the hours. Have a wonderful day. Absolutely wonderful comment. I love that. Colin was right about you. I don't just live backstage. I promise I do stuff. I do stuff. Yes, this might be my second stream of the day. There may be 4 streams over the weekend, but I promise I don't just live on StreamYard. I promise. Guys, really appreciate it. Guys, I'm out of here. Take care, everyone. Come on, you got to Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.